Hi everybody, my name's Andrew Cohn and I want to say thank you very much for watching my video. Please like, comment, and subscribe or follow me on Facebook if you feel you like the topics that I'm covering on this. By all means, please comment, especially if you feel that you want to discuss some new ideas, um, improvements, additions, or perhaps topics or subjects here that you think should be removed from the paper. I would really appreciate any kind of new ideas, any kind of discussion that we can create with it. Giving my video a share is the best way to get my voice out there to as many people as possible. So, for any kind of help that you're willing to give, I really appreciate that. Thank you. Now, to get into the main topic of this video, which would be term limits. So, in a previous video, I discussed a paper I wrote that I have currently titled as An Agreement Between the People and Politicians, where I went over topics such as term limits, pay and pay raises, retirement, campaign finance reform, etc. As you can see on the left side of the screen there, you can see that I have about 15 topics, which I believe I have more like 16. I don't think that's entirely correct, but I mean that doesn't matter honestly. But anyway, so today we're covering the first topic, term limits. So the reason why I picked term limits as the first topic to cover on this paper is because I felt that we needed a topic that can bring people together. And here's the reasons why that I have. I have four reasons as to why I picked it. Number one is in order to bring more people in and gain a diverse set of new ideas. This is a topic that I feel that everyone can agree with, regardless of which side of the political spectrum they're on. Number two, with that in mind, considering how divided our government and our media currently have us, I need a topic that can bring people together. And that kind of ties into number one, where I believe this is kind of something everybody can agree on. Number three, term limits will bring in new people, new ideas, and new solutions into our government and other elected offices. Number four, with other rules, term limits will also prevent people from holding an office for decades and will help our government change and progress with society's changing and progression, and just as importantly, progress and adapt with our ever improving and changing technology. And I think that is one of the most important things that we currently have. We need our government to be able to change and adapt along with the technologies that are improving and get every single day, improving every single, of course. So let's get right into the main topic here, which is term limits. As you can see, I have everything I've written on it. I'm just going to be reading this off so everybody can get a hang of this, and I'll be explaining here and there what I wish to cover on it and why I put things into it. So I said politicians can only serve in a specific office for 10 years. A politician cannot go from one seat to another of equal level. You must move up or down. So the idea of this, and the reason why I said for 10 years, is it's kind of just the base that I went to. 10 years. I think that should be debated and discussed by people, and that's why I think it's important for you all to comment your ideas on this. But I say 10 years. I also have a max terms and service on this, so which means I'd say 20 years. So that tells us that a politician will be sitting in two different offices for 20 years, and it could be shorter than that. It could be longer. But the reason why I put 10 years is because I wasn't sure where to start out at, so I just went with that. I originally actually thought that it should probably be the same as the president, but I've heard argument otherwise. The only reason why I said a politician cannot go from one seat to another of equal level, which let's be honest here, I can't really off the top of my head think of two different offices that are pretty much the same. And when I thought that they were the same, I was thinking more like the House of Representatives and the Senate in the federal government, or perhaps in the state government are of equal value. But I've also been told that otherwise. And it says that you must move up or down, like I said before. And the idea actually really is to encourage people to move up. These term limits and the max terms in service, along with other things that I've put in, for instance, with retirement and pay, the whole thing is supposed to encourage people to move up from a low level and up to a higher level. So I'm hoping this encourages people who actually start at like a city council level to move up and progress in a career into higher offices. Because one of the things that I've also heard from people, and this is actually something I cover a little later, so how about we go one step at a time? I can go on a tangent sometimes. Since one can run for another office after reaching term limits, the total limit should probably be in place. We'll say 20 years. This is just, once again, a base. I think it should be 20 years, but I'd like to hear what other people's opinions on it are. A total service may encourage elected officials to progress in their career instead of staying in one office. The president's the presidential office shall sit outside those 20 years unless you are able to complete the 8-year term limit of the presidential office within said 20 years. I've kind of changed how I go about that. I honestly think that, and that's what I said for now, but I honestly think that the president, you should be, once you hit 16 years, that 16th year of service in a elected office should probably be the last chance that you run for a presidential term. Because the way I looked at it was, you have till the 16 years. You have those 4 years, you'll hit 20 years. But then I said, well, if you do a good job, we got to give you a chance to be able to run for your 8th term. So you have technically 24 years. That would be including the presidential office. And one thing that I haven't involved in a lot of this would be the governor position. Honestly, I would say that the governor, the office of the governor, any state governor, should probably just lie within the 20 years. Not, it shouldn't be the same as the presidential office. But anyway, I also have brought in the idea that people, I think age is important here, because I also put in a mandatory retirement age is 65. The reason why I put that in there is currently it feels like that our average median age within the federal government is like 70 plus. You have, and I said this in my previous video, you have multiple people who are over the age of 70 and actually around the age of 80. You had Joe Biden, who's I believe 78, Nancy Pelosi, who is 81 actually. Then you have Mitch McConnell, who is, I believe, 78. And then you also have Chris Grassley, which I thought I read was 87. He's been in office for 40 years. Each of these people have been in for at least 3 decades. And I know Nancy Pelosi was 33, Biden was 36 in his current office before president. Then you also had Mitch McConnell, who's apparently 36, and then Chris Grassley at 40. These, you can tell, you can sit there and say, I'm not being biased and I'm not hitting one side. You had 2 Democrats and 2 Republicans. But I think a mandatory retirement age is important because many places nowadays actually mark people 70 plus as unemployable due to mental decline and physical decline as well. And honestly, once you hit that age, I honestly think you should be more spending your time with your family and enjoying yourself in retirement at that point. But anyway, the president's term limit may sit outside the max years, but that doesn't mean they can exceed 65 years old. Mandatory retirement age is still 65. So that doesn't mean that you can be 70 years old and run for president. No, nah. The 65-year-old mandatory retirement age stays the same regardless. Once retired from politics or have hit term limits in in a specific office, you can no longer be associated with that position. If you have reached the term limit, that is, you can't be associated with that position if you've hit the term limit. Or you can no longer associate yourself with any office. That is if you hit retirement. In other words, once you're out, you're out. You're done. I don't. The point is to prevent people from being able to manipulate or perhaps lobby or even influence people in current offices. Because let's be honest, if people leave office and they still can make these kind of influences, they technically still have political power even though they're not within their office. And I don't think that's exactly a good thing. I think once they're out of office, that political power, that political influence should be removed. I have no issue whatsoever with people getting on, like, for instance, media, YouTube, where a lot of independent journalists end up, or for instance, CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, OAN, and having doing an editorial where they speak their mind. But if they're going to go and try and directly influence an office while they're not in politics anymore, that is technically them waving some kind of political influence, political power, and I don't think that's okay. Anyway, I have actually also put in something new on this paper since I actually did my last video. I put in an eligibility for running for office. One of the things that I've noticed, there's actually some occasions, and right now I think there's a few occasions on this. It would be like, for instance, Maxine Waters. I believe Maxine Waters lives outside of her current district she's supposed to be representing in the process. I believe I can't remember his name, unfortunately, but the gentleman who unfortunately passed away, who was a representative or a senator for Baltimore, he didn't actually. They actually gerrymandered, I believe, that district, so his home, so he didn't have to live in the actual district. He could live in the rich neighborhood outside that district. So I don't think that's right either, because that means these individuals aren't actually, they're disconnected from their district, and they're not actually, you know, they don't understand the needs, the necessities of the district that they're in. So, and to go with the eligibility of running for office, the main thing that I'm trying to cover in this is that there's people who will move to a different district because it has an open seat and they can just run right away. I think that's wrong. We need people who are more familiar with those communities, more familiar with those cities, those towns that lie within that district. So I think the positions that are like that, like for instance, if this is a spot for like a state government, maybe it should, you should have a certain amount of years while living in that district. So the way I put it, and this is just me putting out an idea, and I like I said, please comment and discuss some of these ideas. I would like this discussed. I like this whole thing discussed, and we can improve upon it properly. So, eligibility to run for offices, you have to live in a town, city, district, state for a given amount of time before being able to take an office. You should be able to prove that as well. City council, you have to live in town or city, that city or town, for 1 year. Mayor, town or city, for 2 years. State representative, the district, 5 years. State senator, district, 5 years. Governor, within the state, for 8 years. Federal representative district, which is 5 years. Federal state district, 5 years. So basically, the reason why these are higher positions. Technically, you could probably put the federal representative and state senator. My bad. Federal representative and the federal senator as a higher amount of years in there, because the thing is, the way I'm trying to encourage this is you're going from city council to state to federal, or perhaps you're going city council, mayor, state, and then governor. It depends on how an individual wants to run their personal career. But I think this is important because we need to prevent many things, and this isn't purely all the answers, and I think I left a lot out, and this is why I think it's important that you, the people, actually talk to me, communicate, discuss these ideas, debate what you think is wrong, and yeah, so that is my idea for now. I've written a few things. For instance, I said the point of enforcing this is so that only people who are familiar with their areas they're living in and understand the need and the political mindset, ideology of a town, city, district, state they are running it to be an elected official for. What happens a lot is people will move from one location, district, to another that has an empty seat they can run for. These individuals have no interest in the needs, political ideology of the people within these districts. In the end, regardless of the position you run for, you are an elected official. You are elected to represent your people, district people in the process of our government, and these individuals who move just to run for a seat do not have the people's best intentions at heart and only want the power. So, the thing is, that's pretty much it right there for you. I I hope you all ended up liking what I have written down here. I hope you all have new ideas that you'd be willing to throw my way. As I said, please share this video. Please discuss this with me in the comments, or maybe even just send me a message. I have my email in the down below on YouTube. I will have it up above in case it's on Facebook. Otherwise, I am actually currently creating a Facebook group. Right now, I have it named as the People's Discussion. I didn't think of naming it what I have my YouTube page named right now, which is Andrew Takes Action or Andrew Taking Action. Can't even remember what his YouTube channel. But anyway, thank you very much for watching this video, and you all have a good night.